Students, welcome back to One Stop Law. Now, today we are here not to discuss any particular legal topic from contract or any other law subject. We are here to discuss or understand a very critical issue which the world is facing right now internationally. We know there has been a war declared by Russia on Ukraine. So, let us try to understand the conflict between Russia and Ukraine in a nutshell in this video. So basically what happens, students, Russia has invaded Ukraine, we all know, on 23rd February 2022, and whereby the Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that Russia does not intend to annex Ukraine, but what it wants is the Ukraine military to surrender to Russia. Of course, the Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky has said that no way, there is no question of Ukraine military to surrender to Russia. But along with this invasion of Russia on to Ukraine, Russia attacking Ukraine or waging war in Ukraine, the world is facing another new question: that are we on the verge of a third world war? Now, to find the history, to look into the history of this Russian and Ukraine conflict, let us go back to 1991 when USSR, the erstwhile USSR, was dissolved. Now, at that time in 1991, Ukraine was very much good friends with USSR. But with time, what happened? Ukraine became more and more closer to the European countries, to the extent that in 2008 Ukraine joined NATO, which was obviously not liked by Russia. Now, what was NATO, or what is NATO? NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is an intergovernmental military alliance between 27 European countries, two North American countries, and one Eurasian country, and it is led by US. So you can well understand why Russia didn't like Ukraine joining an organization which is headed by USA, that is NATO. So NATO was led by USA, headed by USA, and obviously Russia didn't like this international move of Ukraine, its inclination more towards Europe and specifically NATO, where it is headed by America. On the other hand, Ukraine was also facing some internal issues. Like there were two separatist territories in Ukraine. You can see I have marked in the map, in this map with a green square, Luhansk and Donetsk. Now, what happened? You can see these two territories were more closer, or geographically located more closer to the Russian border, and they, started their liberation movement. They wanted independence from Ukraine, and what Russia did, Russia exactly did what was expected from it. It started supporting these two territories, and gradually in 2014, Donetsk and Luhansk called themselves as republic countries for themselves. Like Donetsk called itself as Donetsk People's Republic, and Luhansk called itself as Luhansk People's Republic, and they got the full support from Russia. So this is what the scenario was. Russia on one hand was not happy with Ukraine because it actually joined NATO, and it was more close towards USA and getting close towards European nations. On the other hand, Russia got a chance to fuel the internal disturbances in Ukraine by supporting its separatist territories inside Ukraine, and thus the rift between Ukraine and Russia kept on widening. Now, taking the instance, this recent development, like Russia waging war on Ukraine in 2022, is it the first time that Russia has done such invasion? No, definitely not. In 2014 February only, you can see I have another place in the map itself, which I have made a rectangle with a red color, that is Crimea. So Crimea was a peninsular portion of Ukraine, and this territory was annexed by Russia way back in February 2014. So at that time also Russia invaded a portion of Ukraine and it annexed it. So now you can well understand that although at this time the Russian President Putin is kind of saying that it has no intention to annex Ukraine, but it only wants its military to surrender. But Russia has a history of annexing portions of Ukraine earlier as well, or supporting its separatist territories, and supplying giving their military support to those territories, and making those territories free and republic from Ukraine. So this is the international scenario between Ukraine and Russia, and that this rift, this international move of Ukraine towards NATO, and all these internal disturbances fueled and supported by Russia have now reached this state that on 23rd February 2022, Ukraine has been invaded formally by Russia. Like Vladimir Putin had announced that a special military operation in Ukraine, whereby he wants the military of Ukraine to surrender to him. Now, obviously, this move has been heavily criticized by our international community. They are condemning it to the fullest, like European Union, United Nations, UK, Japan, Australia, and of course, USA has put all their financial sanctions possible, all the sanctions possible on Russia. And also the UNO, United Nations organization, the peacekeeping organization, the Security Council of it, which is actually the organ of UNO which is entrusted with the peacekeeping function, is sitting today evening to pass a resolution condemning Russia's action against this Ukraine invasion. But very unlikely that the resolution will be passed, because we know that UN Security Council has a 15 is a 15 member body, of which 5 are permanent members and 10 are non permanent members. And if any one of the permanent member gives a veto against any resolution to be passed in it, then the resolution drops there. No matter all the non-permanent members and all other permanent members vote for the resolution, one veto can destroy the resolution. And as of now, we know Russia is a permanent member of UNSC, that is United Nations Security Council. So it is very unlikely that the resolution will be passed. But yes, all the international community is criticizing this move of Russia. And now coming to the more important question, because all are criticizing it, all are condemning it, the big powers, the other countries like Japan, UK, Australia, USA, all have put all kind of sanctions, financial sanctions, any sanction apart from military sanction on Russia. Now, can they, or will it be the verge of a third world war? Are we standing on the verge of a third world war? That is the question knocking in all of our minds now, right now. And that this question particularly takes us to another sub question, we can call it, like, was this attack, was this invasion by Russia on Ukraine pre-planned, or was it very calculated move? The answer to this can be yes. And also the answer to the other question, that are we standing on the verge of third world war, to my understanding of the international scenario and everything, is might be no. Why? I'll explain. Firstly, the world has now evolved from, is trying to evolve from a pandemic, right? The whole world was closed, collapsed, the economy of most of the countries are completely shattered. So at this point, no countries, I don't think, will take a chance to go and fight against Russia, or go and try to stand by Ukraine to protect it with with its economic position not being in such in a very comfortable position. None of the countries would like to go to a state of a war. Okay, just coming out of the pandemic, no country will take this risk of going into a war with a country like Russia. So, what I feel is, although the action of Russia has been condemned heavily by most of the international community and other nations, but it is very unlikely that, keeping their economy and other things in mind, that they will actually, participate in this war with their resources. We just saw that America withdrew its military protection from Afghanistan. We saw that because at this time every country is facing this economic issue. So it is very unlikely that the other countries would are very much in favor of joining this war. So chances are less that, to my understanding of the problem, I don't know, but chances are less that a third world war is on the verge of it. We can't see a World War III nearby. But yes, then what is the consequence? Like, obviously, if UNSC, it cannot take any action directly, the resolution cannot be passed, because we have Russia as a permanent member. So what we see, this problem is to ease out with time, and eventually Ukraine has to surrender to Russia, what I feel. But we will keep an eye on this. But honestly, to conclude to this video, at this time, standing in 2022, specifically after facing so much issues of, specifically health issue. So many people have, we have lost so many people across the globe, across the world, to this deadly virus. And now, facing a challenge of war and invasion at this point is very shameful on us as humans, as mankind. And we really hope that United Nations, which is the peacekeeping organization, does its job. That is, it is a peacekeeping agency, it does its job properly, and so that these situations don't arise, that a country goes to the extent of waging war on another country. So that's all for this video. This was a short update on the present Russian Ukraine conflict. Till I see you in the next lecture, students, thank you.